I would like, if I may, to regale you with a tale of what for me was a sublime moment. Now, in my case, it just happened to have been in the field of swing dance, but this isn't about swing dance. It's just about those rare moments that you remember because everything came together at that moment. And there must be some time in whatever activity you do. I don't know what you do. Maybe you're into historical reenactment or going to the theatre or role-play gaming, or it doesn't matter what it is. Whatever activity you're really into, you probably find yourself thinking sometimes, why do I do this? Do I really enjoy this? I go to so much trouble and expense and it's not going well. It's so often disappointing. You go to the theatre and the play was rubbish, and you go to the cinema and there was someone behind you eating popcorn all the way through and talking, and the film still wasn't all that good. But then you go to see that really amazingly good play, and it reminds you just how great theatre can be, and so you think, yes, this is worth it. I will carry on doing this. Well, in the case of dancing, sometimes you can be having a pretty night and you just get one dance. Quite often it's towards the end of the night and that's it. It was worth coming out for that one dance. Well, I was in New York. This was a few days after the Frankie Manning centennial. I'd been working very hard and been feeling pretty stressed because loads of things that weren't my fault were going wrong, and anyway, eventually that event ended and I could relax and be a tourist for a few days, and I rented a room in Brooklyn with a load of other Lindy Hoppers. I didn't realise at the time actually what big stars they were all just about to become. I just thought they were quite keen Lindy Hoppers. Anyway, they told me that the place to go that night was a speakeasy. We'd been going dancing pretty much every night, but this night, the speakeasy, that's where all the cool cats are going. Okay. And they gave me the password. Yes, so I was now in the know. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's no such thing as a speakeasy these days. How can you have a speakeasy with no prohibition? Prohibition makes the speakeasy. Well, yeah, all right, it wasn't completely and utterly a speakeasy because there's no prohibition. But in all other respects, they did it very well. I walked along an anonymous street and saw an anonymous just archway in the terrace, and I went down through the archway, down some dark, dingy, anonymous, not very promising looking steps, and found myself in a dark, dingy, damp courtyard surrounded by anonymous, grim buildings, and I walked up an iron staircase to a door, made my presence known, and a little shutter went shoof, and I was asked for the password, which I knew. So I said the password and they let me in. Now, I don't actually know what would have happened if I'd got the password wrong. Would they actually have turned me away? Because this was, after all, a place of business. But anyway, they kept up the act, so far as I can tell, pretty well. And in I went. And on the inside, there were not particularly good oil paintings of naked ladies on the wall, and they were selling alcohol in teacups, and there was a jazz band playing, and there was a little dance floor, and the decor was definitely in keeping with the idea of a speakeasy. So as far as you could take the idea of a speakeasy, I think they'd done pretty well. Anyway, as I say, there were Lindy Hoppers there, and there was a jazz band, and there was dancing, and there were members of the ordinary public there, but there were also quite a few Lindy Hoppers. Now, I'd been dancing for quite some while, and the band had started playing some really quite fast stuff, and the floor had emptied. In fact, they started playing a number that was too scary to dance to for a lot of people, and there were just two couples on the floor, and I was in one. I was dancing with a Lithuanian girl, and I had danced with her quite a few times in the past. And in the past, she was, a decent but unremarkable dancer. But it seemed that she had, since I'd last seen her, which was a couple of years in between, I'd say, she'd improved quite a lot. Now, here's an etiquette problem. There's a bit of a sideline here, but there's an etiquette problem here. You see, this has happened to me a number of times, and perhaps it's happened to you in your field. You encounter someone in this field where some people are good or less good at whatever it is, making pottery, going to the theatre, and you get to know them, and you get to know that they are mediocre, nothing special. And then some years later you meet them again, and they've improved markedly, and it's really pleasing to you. Oh, wow. You want to tell them, you want to compliment them and tell them how much they've improved. How do you do this? How do you do this without it backfiring and coming across as an insult? Wow, you are so much better than you used to be. maybe well meant, but they're very likely to take it as, oh, I see, so I was rubbish, was I? Well, thank you. All those times dancing with me in the past and you just thought I was rubbish. Oh, well, I'm glad to learn that now. So how could I put it better? Wow, you have come on in leaps and bounds is better, but still not great. And is there any way of telling someone that they've improved enormously and how pleased you are about this without coming across as an arrogant arse, as though you're some sort of authority and that you know that back then you were excellent and in a good position to judge their mediocrity, and now you're still excellent and can pat them on the head for how well. Do you see what I mean? I want to be able to do this. This is something which keeps coming up again and again, and if you have a solution, please describe it in the comments below. How do you compliment someone on how much they've improved in your field of enjoyment without either backfiring and insulting them or coming across as an arrogant ass? Anyway, she'd improved a lot. The music was fast. It was a good band. The floor was quite a good floor in the terms of the surface to dance on, but the floor had a number of problems. One, it was a very small dance floor, and two, this one could have been worse, it was between the main seating area, which was over there, and the main buying drinks and milling about area, which was down there. So anyone trying to get from one to the other would naturally just walk across the dance floor. And I never cease to be amazed by how staggeringly abysmal most non-dancers are at walking across a dance floor. Sometimes they even do it carrying a tray of drinks. They just sort of walk, usually in a straight line, straight across the dance floor, expecting not to be hit by any of these dancers, no matter how wild the music is or how wild the dancing. They just seem to think that, oh, everyone will get out of my way. Well, these dancers aren't crashing into each other, so they must have some special technique for missing. Yeah, dancers don't crash into each other because dancers are aware of how dancers move. But if you are totally unaware of how dancers move and you just walk across a dance floor, you're just asking to be kicked, frankly. Well, anyway, so this was a worry, as you can imagine. It was a worry because we were dancing very quickly, but it was more of a worry because of something I heard in the music. Now, you might find it difficult to believe if you're not particularly steeped in jazz. If you haven't listened to loads and loads of jazz, you might not be aware that there are predictable patterns in jazz. Jazz has, if you like, a grammar to it. And I heard that in the future, this jazz band was going to explode. Something really special was going to happen. Now, at the moment, it was playing fast and energetically, but oh my goodness, that is going to be so high energy at this moment, which was quite some way in the future. It's so difficult to put a figure on it, but I reckon it was most of a minute. So say it was 40 seconds in the future, that band is going to explode. What do I do? I could do some very spectacular moves, but is my partner going to be with me? Because though it seems that she's a fair bit better, she's going to have to be really, really good to be able to dance what I'm thinking of dancing if they're going to do what I'm absolutely certain now that they're going to do. Because it's like, I don't know, dum ba ba da dum bum. You can't leave it there, can you? It's just so wrong. It's got to be dum ba ba da dum pam pam. You've got to put that pam on the end. Well, just as you know that you've got to put that pam on the end of dum ba ba da dum bum. I knew just at that moment that it would have been a crime against jazz if the band did not absolutely go berserk at this time, which was faster and faster approaching. Well, I thought, okay, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to give myself a lot of room on this floor so that I can really swing my partner out really hard. And I decided that swinging her out towards the band was the way to go. But that meant going very close to the wall at the back of this very small dance floor, this wooden panelled wall. Would I be able to pull this off? Because I've got to carry on dancing for all these seconds and then just end up with my partner just in the right place, with just the right amount of stretch, facing in the right direction relative not just to me but also to the floor, and I've got to get her very close to this wall, and that takes a certain amount of trust. If you lead someone very rapidly straight at a wall, don't worry, I will catch you, you're not going to crash into this wall, we're going to go the other way. She's got to trust you, she's got to get the message, and would I be able to pull it off at very high speed? And then of course, what is the other dance couple going to do? Will that other couple, seeing that I've vacated this space, think, oh, great, and just dance into it? Or will some git carrying a tray of drinks walk, oh, great, they've got out of our way, I'll just walk through, not realising that this was the moment when the thing that just had to happen. Those drinks would go flying. Well, I noticed to my left, in that area where a lot of the other Lindy Hoppers had gone to lounge around and chat to each other, that there were people who had stopped talking and they were turning around, and some of them were standing up, and there were more and more eyes on the dance floor, because those people, not those people, but those people also heard in the music, oh my goodness, something very special is going to happen in the music. Will they be able to honour this? Will they be able to come up with something that will honour what is about to happen in this music? Well, I got into position, I managed to pull it off, and I swung my partner out towards that band so hard. She fair flew at them, and yes, she was with me. She was absolutely with me. She was terrifically able, and just she was able to stay with me, and that was a wonderful thing. But you know what made it extra special? What made it extra special was that the other dance couple did exactly the same thing in exactly the same way at exactly the same time. They had also heard what was coming up in the music and had come to exactly the same conclusion, got into position, and we both swung out, vroom, at the band, vroom, like that at the band. So we were going, vroom, 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 these two couples in sync to this very, very fast, explosive jazz. And there was a roar of appreciation from the Lindy Hoppers, who had feared. I think that was the main emotion I was getting off them was concern. Oh no, is this moment going to be? Are they going to be able to pull this off? Because it'd be such a shame if they couldn't. Yes, they did it. Look at those couples go, and the amount of unspoken communication between myself and my partner, between the band and the people on the dance floor, and indeed all the other people in the room who were paying attention, and the other couple. The amount of unspoken communication, the amount of skill and understanding that went into making that moment possible is largely what makes that so special. There you go. A really sublime moment. Lindy